Hello, everyone, and welcome to your favorite segment of Football Pundits, which is the fantasy segment, which clearly is the only thing you guys tuned in for. But today we have a very special guest, Keyur, joining us. Keyur's finished in the last couple of years in the top 20,000 in the world in FPL Manager. So that's pretty cool. So we're looking forward to having his inputs on this week's FPL. We'll also be covering the main fixtures, your captain picks, every position, and basically give you the lowdown on what's to be done. Okay, you're jumping right into this. Thank you so much for joining us. And what is your approach for these last game weeks, and what would you advise people these last 5 game weeks that are coming up? What should they be doing?
So, Karan, the thing is, this season has been very experimental for me. I sort of looked at it right from the start in a very experimental perspective. Took my wild cards early, all of that. And I've just been playing catch up on my mini leagues for the last 10 to 12 game weeks. And that's what my approach is. And hence, what I'm trying to sort of do is take a little bit of risk, take a couple of hits to be able to sort of make up as much ground as I can. And hence it paid off for me last game week. I scored about 91 with a hit. My hit paid off really well. I'm sort of doing that again this week. I went a little wrong with my chip strategy, but I think I should be able to be to finish in a decent enough position by the end of the season.
Okay, so I have one question straight off talking about taking hits. Mo Salah. I do not have him in my team, and it's clearly costing me points. Big rotation risk. He might not play the next one, but across his 4 post-lockdown appearances, Salah has now 2 double-digit hauls and averages 9.3 points per game. Does everyone need to bring him in for the last few games?
So Mo Salah is pretty much an FPL necessity, right? If you can afford to risk a 1 game week transfer, get him out for money and get Salah back in, if that's possible, do it. Otherwise, I'd say for the long run, it's too much of a risk to do that. If you have him in your team, keep him. If you don't, probably skip this game week and then get him in for the next one.
And that's interesting because they do have tricky fixtures coming up as well against Arsenal and Chelsea, I believe. Annie, I'm going to come to you next because I know you always have this soft spot for Son. So my next question is to you. Spurs look woeful right now. What do we do with Spurs attacking assets, Son and Kane? What are we doing?
I don't know, bro. I mean, okay, look, if I look at it on a very serious analytical point of view, it's worrying. They have a fully fit squad. They have attacking players who for the first 20 minutes against Manchester United in the first game looked crazy, and they've not been the same ever since, right? What I would still say is it's a North London derby that's coming up, right? And these derbies are always those games you look at without form. You look at just the fixture itself, and it's always produced goals, and we know it has. So if you have Son, if you have Kane, I would say hold on to them, because I think ideally what you would do is take out Kane for Vardy, or you take out Kane for Aubameyang, who's got form again, right? And for the North London derby itself, I don't know if it's worth doing the -4 for just Kane and Oba. So I would hold on to Son. I would hold on to Aurier because, again, just for 1 game week, not worth taking those players out. My personal opinion would be stick with them. I'm sticking with Son for sure. I'm not taking him out.
So I was laughing while asking that question because I think it's a laugh of misery Annie's had with Son, I've had with Kane. I have not had patience with Kane. I watched that game yesterday. His first touch in the opposition box was around the 75th minute. His only shot was against the wall from a free kick. I offloaded him immediately and brought Vardy on. But speaking of those forwards, Jimenez is another one who's sort of disappointed now. 3 blanks. Wolves not really doing as well as, on this show, we've gone on and on about tripling up on their assets. I mean, what do you think with Wolves' assets? What would your take be? Hold, shift?
Yeah, so hold on to Jimenez. If you remember on our last FPL, Vardy had 3 blanks, and I had called out saying Vardy will score in his next 2 games. Keep Vardy. I'm seeing Jimenez in a similar thing, also because they're playing Everton at home. Wolves have been good at home, barring that Arsenal loss, which was, we all would agree, surprising to some extent. Definitely hold on to your Wolves. If you have 3 Wolves players, hold on to them. Everton haven't been scoring much. They've had 3 goals in 3 games. That included a goalless draw at home against Liverpool. So I don't see too much of an attacking threat. And if you've got 3 Wolves players, stick to them. I think Jimenez will definitely fire this weekend. And just coming back to the first one, stick to Salah. everyone thought he'd be dropped for Brighton. It's the reason why most fantasy managers dropped him for KDB. And KDB did just about get an assist, but Salah had 18 points. So hold on to Salah. I don't think Klopp is rotating as much as we thought he would. We have a Pep Guardiola lens on this Liverpool team. He's not rotating them as much because they have the golden boot to chase. So I'd say hold on to Salah and keep your Wolves triple up if you can.
Also, it's just come in that Henderson's out for the season now.
Right.
So they might have a little bit of a concern there.
More
And
playtime
they
for
might keep
maybe
Salah in.
Fabinho, Keita. Hopefully Shaq will get some more time. But I think that front three, maybe barring Firmino, who's not been in the best of form, Liverpool fans will disagree when they say that he's a cam and he's creating great chances. FPL wise, he's not been a great pick. I think even footballing wise, he might rest Firmino to give more game time to Origi, like he did against in the previous game against Brighton.
Yeah, also Kern to mention, that Everton are without Holgate, and Keane and Holgate had a good partnership going. Mina, ideally on paper, is a better centre back, but we know he has this tendency to switch off. But
he's a bit like Bailly.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, Everton have still not conceded under Ancelotti, right? They've not got drubbed too often, apart from 1 or 2 games, right? So it'll be interesting to see if Jimenez might get more than 1 goal. Guys, keep that in mind. Maybe 1 goal might not be worth it.
Yep. The other side of the coin that Abby was mentioning, Everton haven't looked lethal, but they've looked pretty strong at the back. They have 2 clean sheets in the last 4, so that's going to be an interesting one as to how Wolves and Everton face up. We've got all these picks, from these individual battles and these big questions. But what I'm going to do is let's go to the exact positions, right, and see how we're going to fill this team out getting into this week. Starting with the defense. Keyur, I'm going to come to you first. Keepers and defenders. What are your must-haves for this week and maybe even for a longer run?
So, if you look at only this game week, if you look at the fixtures, this is the trickiest game week in the next 4. Most of the teams are playing teams who are very similar to their levels, or there'll be very cagey matches, or, you won't have very high scoring ones from an FPL perspective, except for, let's say, the North London derby. But the other matches also, I feel Everton and Wolves will pretty much cancel out each other. I've actually taken a big risk. I have a United defender. I have Wolves. I have Aurier at the back. But if you look at, let's say, which are the teams you want to look, he's doing it. He's doing it for us. He's a cheap buy. He was my downgrade from Tar to be able to sort of facilitate in the front. But I think goalkeeper wise, a lot of people will have Pope, right? Hold on to him, because even though he might not get a clean sheet, he'll give you the save points, right? And that's
they play Liverpool away.
Yeah, recently they've lost 5-0, but then Pope still got about 4 points, if I'm not wrong, in that game, right? And when you look at the other goalkeeping options, also you won't look at transferring goalkeepers usually in the middle of, unless you're on a wild card. In terms of defense, I would actually look at someone like a Shaw, because I was reading a stat about July touches in the box. He has as many touches, or I think more than Harry Kane. Karn, you'll be very interested to know that.
That's not saying much, to be honest, right now.
But Shaw, I think, is a good bet. Although Southampton will give United the runaround this weekend. City, obviously, with Brighton, I don't think, except for Trossard and a little bit of Maupay, they will be able to trouble City too much. So City defense, I would say. Goalkeeper, keep the goalkeepers you have. If you are anyway going to waste this thing, get Pope in, because his last 2 fixtures are pretty good. So he'll get you the points.
Yeah. So I think the thing majorly right here is what we touched about last week as well, is your keepers stick to, your defenders stick to, don't try and change around too much, because it's the last few weeks. This will make a difference of 2 points, 4 points. It makes much more sense to use those switches further upfield. Yeah. And which is what I'm going to get to next, because this is the most confusing one for me, midfield. If there was an option right now to play a 3-7, I'd be playing a 3-7 with no forwards, because the midfielders are getting in all the points. You can double up with Chelsea's, you can double up with City's, you can double up with United's.
Yeah.
I mean, who are your big midfield picks going into this week?
Yeah, I think basically what you can do is that...
was that Abby or Annie?
Annie.
Abby. I did say Abby, but we'll start with Abby, because Abby was raising his hand, and then we'll come to Abby.
Yes, miss. Okay.
One thing that worked for me coming back into the restart was tripling up. And I guess it's the optimistic United fan in me, but just tripling up on United assets. I have no United defenders. I don't have David De Gea. My triple is forward and 2 midfield. Since you asked the question, Karan, Ole has clearly shown one thing, which is, boss, United are not a side to rotate. We have a fixed Premier League starting 11. He's even gone out to say that if you want to be playing for this club and if you want to be competing for the highest honours year on year, be ready to play 90 minutes week in, week out. We've seen it in the way he's played Bruno Fernandes. We've seen it in the treatment meted out to Luke Shaw. These guys are being run to the ground. And I mean this in a good way. So I would say that triple up on United's assets. United are averaging 3 goals plus every single game. Personally, it's paid me off big time. I had Martial captain the previous game week, 28 points. I have Martial and Bruno this game week, I think a combined 20 odd points. I have Rashford. So if you are looking at midfield, guys, bank on Man United, only because while Liverpool have an easy fixture against Burnley at home and City have an easy fixture at Brighton away, you run the risk of rotation over there, whereas Ole is not here to mess around. Play your United midfield and I think you'll be safe.
Yeah, I think that's something you mentioned throughout our FPL games, right? That it was always time to triple down United assets, if not City, because City, the fear was rotation. And don't forget, Pogba scored a goal now. Pogba is good now outside differential, which we thought he'd be in the start, to come in instead of a Martial also, because everyone's gone for Martial suddenly. Now Pogba becomes a good differential.
Annie's point about Pogba, it's a difficult one for me because if I'm bringing Pogba in, then I have to sit either Martial or Bruno, and that's not something that looks particularly interesting right now.
No, my point was if they don't have.
Pogba is a great difference.
Yeah, if you don't have,
I think his point was differential between the two.
That's what I'm saying. So if you are looking to catch up on mini leagues, Pogba is the differential to have amongst them. Annie, I'm coming to you with the next team, Chelsea. Again, great options in midfield. Willian and Pulisic, of course. Again, a double up, or one of the two is good enough?
Looking at the fixtures that Chelsea have coming up in the next game week, right? They play Sheffield. Now, Sheffield is a team who doesn't like to concede many. They were looking shaky, but they've stabilized. But the fixture after that is Norwich. So I think it's time, if you are considering taking a minus for this game week, go in for the double up. And last week, our expert mentioned that going in for a Giroud, which is a forward I'll come to later, would be a better option than 2 midfielders. So I would say maybe go for Willian or Pulisic and stick to a forward, Chelsea forward.
So this brings me to you, Keyur. We've obviously now covered 2 United assets must-have, 1 Chelsea one. We have Salah, who you've said is a must-have. That's 4 done there. And then we still haven't touched upon City. So what are we doing with our midfield then?
Look, City, set and forget, KDB is right there, right? Even if he plays your 20 minutes or 30 minutes, you have to have him. I've interestingly seen that with Mahrez, even when he's on the field, he always makes a difference. Even in the loss against Southampton, he was their best player in the first half. So I was surprised that he pulled him off in the dreaded 59th minute, right? But you've got to notice that Mahrez and definitely Sterling's fresh. He came on late in the second half, and still in whatever time he was on the field, he scored those 9 points, and he looked very lively. Brighton have already conceded a lot recently against Liverpool and other teams, and they're definitely. I expected Brighton to be on the beach by now, but for whatever it's worth, Graham Potter still sort of pushing them, and they're competing. But I don't see them putting up too much of a resistance. Sterling and Mahrez for sure. If you're going to pick two more City assets besides KDB.
But then, Sterling would come in for whom? Because it's not easy to have Salah, Sterling in your team, right?
So see, if you like I said earlier, if you want to take that punt this week on a high-priced midfielder, you could do a Salah to Sterling for a game week, bring him back, because I have a feeling, listening to Klopp's presser, where he was talking about playing down the whole Golden Boot thing, that we don't play for the Golden Boot. Firmino's letting the ball go for Salah to score in that game. When he was asked about it, he said we don't do all that kind of stuff. So he's playing it down, and I kind of believe that to keep that harmony, he's rested Firmino, then he rested Mane, and this game he might not start Salah, is what I kind of guess, to be able to keep that harmony in the team and give that rest going ahead. You could get Sterling in for Salah maybe.
All right. Thanks. So I think where now the savings are going to come from is the forwards, because the likes of your Aubameyang, Vardy, Kane, they just seem too expensive and too inconsistent to give you results when you have someone like your Greenwood, who's absolutely going crazy right now with your returns. Right. So, I mean, for me, Greenwood is a must-have. He still isn't in my team somehow, because I still have Rashford and I'm not finding the changes anywhere else. But who else do you think KUR is a must forward going this week? And if there is any money to save potentially there?
Not a very popular choice in this group right now, but what I did last night after seeing Rashford is I got Rashford and Jimenez out for Ings and Vardy. Seeing how
morning,
Southampton is. See, Ings is a guy who's very underrated in the FPL, scenario. He scored, if I'm not wrong, 17 goals already or 18 in the season, right? And he's continued to be underrated.
But I wouldn't say I wouldn't say he's overlooked because he's owned by 30% of teams. So people are looking at Ings. He's owned way more than some of the other strikers.
But maybe because Jimenez is sort of more spoken about and all that, and I kind of feel with Traore out for a while with his shoulder dislocation again, 6 to 8 days is what they're sort of looking at. I look at, and Wolves has not been creating too many chances in the last 3-4 games. That's why I feel also Vardy is a definite. If you get Vardy in, captain choice for this week for sure.
Bournemouth away, yeah.
Bournemouth away, and even without Maddison. The number of big chances that he had in the last game were actually quite good. So he's a definite captain pick if he's in your team. If you can get him in for Jimenez, best thing possible. I've also not owned Greenwood for a wild card. So that's a tightrope that even I've been walking.
Hopefully Rashford finally delivers this week for a lot of managers who still hung on to him.
The Greenwood predicament, Karan, is that people like you and I and KUR also, from what I'm seeing, is that all of us have Rashford in our teams. We're all waiting for that big Rashford brace assist. It hasn't happened, and I'll share my thoughts maybe on another episode when we do a United roundup. But yeah, point taken on Greenwood.
Yep. So I'm going to come into the meat part of this, the differentials and the captains, the ones that are going to make the actual big difference. And for that, I'm going to just first bring out the 4 big fixtures that I see are going to be the point hauls potential for this week. It's Liverpool versus Burnley, Brighton versus Man City, Bournemouth versus Leicester, and United versus Southampton. Largely the games that I would say that we should look at for the big points. Annie, who is your captain's pick for this week? And if you have a differential as well.
I just want to point out, guys, that Mason Greenwood is no longer a differential. He's almost owned by 25% of the FPL managers at 4.7.
Wow,
all of y'all messed up because even if Rashford doubles up now, he's not paying you back for those 3 weeks of missed chances.
Yeah.
Coming to this
That's the exact percentage in this.
But Rashford's return hasn't been too bad.
Yes, Keor, yes. But let's move on to what Kern said. My captain for this game week is a little tricky. Honestly, I didn't expect to be so confused because I thought I would just go for Bruno blindly. I don't know. I still want to go for De Bruyne, right? Because I feel that more than half the FPL managers will go for Fernandes. I think I'll end up going with Fernandes mostly, but a slight last-minute change of heart could be also De Bruyne. And differential for this game week would still be, for people who don't have them, that is, Phil Foden. I think he still has enough in him to start. He is going to be David Silva's successor at City. So it doesn't make sense that he's going to be rested for a full game. Yeah. Maybe coming on in a sub, like what happened with Sterling, might work out better for us as FPL managers who own him.
Abby, your captain pick and your differential for this week?
Both are United lads, although both don't play for United. Well, one of them doesn't play for United. My captain is, I'm going to keep the faith with Anthony Martial. It's a personal observation, but Martial scores when we play at home. It's a familiar setting for him. It actually, when you see Martial play, it looks like a training game when we play at Old Trafford.
His last 4 games at home, I believe.
Yeah.
There you go. So I'm going to keep my faith with Martial. He's been my captain in the game week previous to this one as well. Southampton at home, no rotation. I think safe pick in that sense. And my differential is another United lad who's not at United anymore. It's something that I also read up, to be fair. It's not something I picked out necessarily. But I think Danny Welbeck, Watford player, bruised and broken Newcastle at home. Welbeck is soaring on confidence. They had a very big game against Norwich where they won and took them above the relegation zone, and Welbeck scored that winner. And if you guys have seen the goal, it is an incredible goal. So my differential is actually Welbeck because he's going to be high on confidence, and they play a battered Newcastle side at home, and Watford are not bad at home. So that's my differential.
Welbeck will definitely be an interesting pick, but I think this is the first goal he scored in like 2 years or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's Welbeck. High on confidence.
Goal for Watford, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, that's why I said thoda hatke, like a true differential, Yeah. Will I have him? I won't.
That is not differential. That was just different out of this episode, guys.
Putting the different in differential there. Keyur, what about you? Who are your captain picks and what's your differential?
So see, the captain for my team is going to be Vardy because I've plainly got him to sort of put the captain's armband on him in my team this week. Vardy and I think Vardy and KDB are going to be the most popular choices. Plainly because their potential to score a high amount of points. In terms of, I think Bruno's a good shout out, definitely. Differential, I have two differentials in mind. Nobody's really speaking about Antonio, right? And he's been playing really, really well. Also out of position midfielder, playing pretty much as a false nine or as a striker. And they face Norwich, who could be relegated this Saturday, right? If they lose.
Yeah. They will be.
And my belief is if West Ham score the first goal, that'll really puncture their confidence. Antonio could sort of go on and score quite a few points. The other differential is who Annie spoke about earlier, Pogba. And I think Pogba, if he's fit, I have a feeling that the way he ended the game yesterday, Solskjaer might just, especially also the kind of opinion that Solskjaer has of Southampton giving them a run around, he might just go for a slightly conservative, two sitting midfielders for this game and might get Pogba off the bench. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's my guess. But I have a feeling that if you can get some sort of inside information and see if because United trained today, if Pogba sort of trains well, you could probably go for him as a differential.
Yep. Don't forget that the deadline is Saturday 4 p.m. India time, so you have till then to catch up on your team news and possibly get your changes in. Do not leave it too late because I know there's far too many of you who do like Annie and then just miss out. My picks for this week, the captain is Bruno. I'm just not doubting him again. He's returning, I think, around just under 10 points per game. Yeah. I'm just going to go with Bruno. And like last week, there was this very interesting point that came in. When you're a differential, when you're bottom of the league, you want to captain a differential, because if you're captaining a Bruno that everyone else is, you're just getting one Bruno on top. But if you're looking for a differential option, I'm actually going with David Silva because he's clearly on his City farewell tour right now. Everyone wants to give him the ball. He's in the middle of everything and he's going to be playing. So my differential pick for this week is David Silva. But anyway, guys, that was this round of FPL, and generally we've been doing very well for you guys in the FPL. We've noticed we've given you a lot of great picks. Thank you so much, Kayur, for joining us today, and we hope this week Kayur and the rest of our pundits are going to be extremely helpful for your picks. Keep hitting subscribe, hit the bell icon, get the notifications, and keep climbing up those FPL points.
That was great, guys. Thank you so much.